ARTI SHARMA is the owner of Measure Marketing. And ARTI, please let us know a little more about what you do.
Thank you, Patricia, for having me. It is an absolute pleasure and an honor to share, share with you I think this moment. I run a digital marketing agency, and that's what Measure Marketing does to help small, medium, and large enterprise businesses create a brand presence online and also help them generate more qualified leads. We work with customers all over North America.
ARTI, tell us a little bit about your professional life in this particular time, especially during the pandemic. What's your professional life like?
You know what? It's definitely uncertain times for all of us, and it's given a different perspective and a different way to look at how we do things, what we do for our customers, and most importantly, what kind of impact are we having on our customers' lives, right? So the professional life has been stable. We've been blessed. We actually may have even grown a little bit. I don't look at that, very often, because these are the times where we are committed to serving our existing customers more so, and work with them at a deeper level to get them the results that they want, because every business has been impacted, as you know. So yes,
that's for sure.
Hard.
Yeah. And what brought you to this business? I know you had a similar career, but you made a shift. Tell us when you did that and what caused that.
You know what? I've been always an entrepreneur. I've been blessed to be able to work even when I was in the corporate world or working for others. As I started my career, I worked for smaller companies, not enterprise level. There were a couple of enterprise level too, but majority of my career in the corporate life has been working with smaller to medium-sized companies. And I think that fosters entrepreneurship in me. I kind of recognized that a little bit later on, that when you have worked successfully with small, medium enterprises, you have that hidden entrepreneurial skill, because you don't have a lot of disposable resources, or for that matter, budgets to work with, while you're kind of, growing and working with the company vision to get the outcomes that the company has set forth, right? So for me, it was kind of, I think, reinventing myself. In a way, when I moved to Canada in 2004, 2005 with my family, I was at the peak of my corporate career back in India, and then we moved, and I had to start all over again. I was given the right opportunities, and I worked hard to, make them work and keep them. So that was one area that I did, I think, well. Of course, luck does play a role in being presenting you the right opportunities and how you take advantage of those opportunities, right? So in one of those situations, because there was an entrepreneurial bone in me, and I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and in the past I had run two successful companies. One was a human resource company, a recruitment agency, and also a travel agency. So I was not unfamiliar with an agency world. It was just a little bit different. It was a different market, so you're still serving clients, you're still creating customer experience and creating outcomes which are related to those customers in those different niches and the different markets. So as you mentioned, I was in a franchise organization that still does internet marketing, and their franchisees do internet marketing. So my role was to train, educate, and communicate. In that role, I was director of events and training, my last position. So with that knowledge base that I had self-taught myself to some degree, learned from others, I think there was a bigger calling and a bigger purpose for me to be able to serve a lot more businesses, and be more in the trenches than just in the training and scraping the surface. So given my past background, the knowledge I had acquired, and the purpose that I had uncovered as to what will give me more happiness, I started Measure Marketing in 2008 part-time, and then started to work the business in 2010 full-time, July of 2010.
So how would you articulate your big why? Why is it that particular market that really fires you up and you enjoy working with them?
Over the years, the why has changed, to be very honest. When I first started to, work the business. It was more, how can I gain more financial independence for my family, create more wealth and abundance. And, 1 year down the road, you see success happening around you. And then 2 years down the road, you see the outcomes, how people are really enjoying the outcomes you're able to deliver for them and what is it doing for them and their business. So at that time, you start to feel a sense of connection, and that purpose starts to kind of, build in, right? You see the outcome, you see the joy, and when people achieve their goals, it was making me more happier.
Mm.
So quite honestly, I'll be honest with you, What's Your Why, the book from Simon Sinek, was out there in the market. I didn't know about it. And when people would say, what's your why, I honestly wasn't able to connect the dots. And like, what is my why? I mean, I want to provide and be the parent who can provide really well for my family. And I want to I've come to a different country altogether. I want to create abundance in all spheres of life. But I did invest in a few coaching programs. I did invest in one-to-one coaching. I did invest in some life coaching also. And that's when, and then started reading a whole lot of books around purpose, why, leadership, and started to kind of invest in programs. And that's when it all started to kind of, come together. And today, and then I honed it down and said, why, the answer for why is why, and what happens when you achieve it? What does it give you? So I went through an exercise with a coach. I still don't forget that day because she honed it down. And that why brought me in. I still remember in her coaching room, there was a whiteboard where I would just go, and she said, okay, when you get to this, what does it do for you? How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? And then eventually the loop closed. And I'm like, on the way back home, I kept thinking about that conversation, and I said, okay, my why is to be able to inspire other people. My why is to be able to influence and eventually to create an impact. So that is the purpose, that is my personal purpose, and that has translated now into Measure Marketing as well, to be able to influence, inspire, and impact positively, be it our employees or our customers or vendors or partners.
So this why, when we talk about why, sometimes people think they have to have one significant why, but what you have explained is that it encompasses many areas of your life, personal, professional, and even how your why affects other people outside of your realm, right? So that's your influence, right?
That's right. And I think the why has to be bigger than beyond you. It has to be beyond you for it to be your why, where I think people think that my why is, and it could be your why with your family too. I mean, there's no wrong or right answer,
No.
Right? Your why is what makes you happy, which creates more higher vibration for you and gets you to act, and if that keeps you happy and gives you a sense of meaning for what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, I think that's what your why is, right?
Yeah.
For me, the why is tied both on the personal front as well as on the professional front. And I kind of, I think that influence and impact has to be in your family, your children, right? How are you impacting your relationships? How are you impacting your friendships? And I think that's the same way to go on your professional side with your customers, your team members.
Because for a woman entrepreneur, those are combined. We don't shut the door to one to open the door at the end of the day, or to close the door at the end of the day with family. It's all one, right? So it's very well integrated. It's life. It's life and work. Yeah. Tell me about a special project that you're working on at the moment that really brings you joy.
There are a few. So I will tell you, at our organization, we're working on a program that will allow us to accelerate results for our customers. And this all transpired from where we are today, given the current situation that we're all being kind of forced into with COVID-19. Obviously, businesses, promote and support families and people who work at these businesses. So clearly, lots of companies are not able to invest into trade shows or events. So they're putting their money and their marketing dollars into digital marketing, and now they're asking, for greater returns to make up for the lost time also, because that has an economical impact. So how can we accelerate results for our clients and work on strategy? So that's a program that I'm working on. It will be rolled out. We're testing in the testing phase right now with a few different clients, and we're very excited and thrilled about it. So that's keeping me really energized in the business. And secondly, we are growing in the midst of pandemic. We decided to grow, and we are growing. So I'm looking for the right resources. We have now invested in our own marketing, so reorganize the company to have a few people on our existing teams to kind of move into our own inbound strategies. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, we all have to be doing what we teach, right?
and sometimes you miss out on it because client work comes first. But
Yes.
we kind of made an intention to. So we've kind of created our own mini marketing and sales department within the organization.
Can you reach back to when you were a little girl and tell me how you would share today's wisdom with her?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think I will tell you a little story if you don't mind.
Sure.
So it may sound very cheeky, but when in 2010 I lost my mother, and I went to India, and of course we were clearing up the closet, right? And I wanted to bring some stuff from her closet to Canada. There was a box which usually had albums and old photographs, but there was a diary in there. So I took out that diary, and I didn't realize, even who knew that you are journaling at that time. And it was grade 11, journal. I was journaling, and I had written there, when I grow up, I want to be an entrepreneur. I am a very successful businesswoman. And I had written these statements that I did not know. These are called affirmations at that time. Okay. So I had subconsciously said those, and I had written those. So for me to go back and, to that little girl, would be a lot of lessons that I've learned along the way. I think if I had to even go back 5 years back and tell that person who I was 5 years ago, I think my business would be different. So I have made mistakes. I have learned from my mistakes. That's the good side of things, because sometimes you keep making the same mistakes and you never learn. But I think I have been blessed to be able to make mistakes like anybody else. Like we all do make mistakes, but learn from those mistakes, and then try and commit and intentionally not repeat those mistakes again. So the thing that I will tell my little self would be to be a little bit more patient, to be more, to be listening more, and to be able to see the light in others. Okay,
sometimes say a little more about that, seeing the light in others.
So I think we try and change people. You can coach people, you can guide people, but you just can't force them to change unless they want to change. I am a people champion. And in the process, I take complete ownership. I'm like, okay, I'm going to work with you. I'm going to make you, the best version of you. But maybe they are already a best version of themselves for them, and they don't want to change. So you can only take them so far. And sometimes it's okay to step back and say, if this is what you want and this is where you are, then that's okay. And I'm happy that you are, recognizing that and seeing that. So sometimes in our quest to help others, to be able to inspire and impact, you sometimes could possibly not see the goodness in the other person because you're trying to make them your version of them, right? Whereas they are happy to be their version of themselves.
Yes. And sometimes it's much better for them to identify when it's the right time for them to be a different version of themselves.
Exactly.
So seeing where they are is like meeting them where they are. And
I think that's something that I constantly work on as a leader, as a manager, and even as a mom. I'll be honest with you. I'm trying to kind of coach my 10-year-old, and I'm like, well, she must think that she's okay like that. She's like, yeah.
For a 10-year-old, she's probably okay. She's probably really good.
I've been blessed with both our children, definitely, but and also with my team. But sometimes I think my aspirations and the drive that I have may not be the other person's drive. you know.
Exactly.
So we have to do a very good job to match that to the role that we are in, and that's what my learning is. And then from there, you know, say, okay, if this is what their vision is themselves is, then can I help them in that vision, or they're okay there, or can we you know, inspire them to see a different vision for themselves because they have a lot of potential, you know, sometimes. So I think that's the role that I have evolved into, and that's what I will tell my 5-year-old self, to see the light in others and be okay with where others are.
Mm-hmm. And also to share that with other women entrepreneurs, no matter where they are in their
Mhm.
entrepreneurial journey. It's good to see that light in what they're doing and encourage them. And that's what this channel is all about: is validating those women's choices and amplifying their voices,
Absolutely,
because
I
it
love.
is their choice, and
Mhm.
we want to see the light in it. We want to amplify it. So that was a
Absolutely.
great way that turned around. you,
No, no,
you and I
I
more or less
love it.
agree. We just verbalize it a little different.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm a little bit more of an explainer, so I used lot more words to get to the same point.
Yeah, yeah. What's next for you, Artie?
You know what, for me right now is the growth of Measure Marketing and a lot more impact. I think when things try and settle down a little bit, we are definitely planning for that, to have a larger impact in the community, to, of course, be able to work with a lot more small, medium businesses. We are also working on another program to be able to support brick and mortar businesses to be able to, you know, get a head start as they open
Mm,
up.
mhm,
So there'll be some sort of a bootstrapped funding available for them to go either an e-commerce route or to get on the web. So we're working on that, and that's keeping me very excited and energized,
mhm.
because you know what, I can take I can take what we have and you know, utilize it for the goodness of all and a lot more people. I think that's what's keeping me and my team really, really energized.
Mhm. Thank you, Artie. I want to let our audience know that the information for connecting with you will be in the description below this video.
Mhm.
If you would just like to tell us what your website name is, so that anyone who is not immediately looking at the description can, I'll post it on the screen here. Could you tell us what your website address is, please?
Absolutely. It's www.measuremarketing.com. Thank you,
.com.
Patricia, for having me. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Artie.
Have a good one.
You too.